Bros. Google finally did it. See, I've been a Google fan practically since I popped out of the womb. With one itty-bitty exception, my daily driver has been a Pixel since I got the very first one back in 2016. And to be quite frankles with all of y'all, none of them in the past have quite felt like head-to-head iPhone competitors. This time it's different. Usually I wouldn't talk too much about the design, but this is so distinct, and I like it. It comes in 3 different colors: stormy black, cloudy white, and sorta sunny. I have sorta sunny, and it's, well, sorta pea colored, but it's hands down the best colored phone this year. I slipped my way into Best Buy right before class one day to check out the black Pixel 6, and it definitely looked just a smidge cheaper. The most noticeable design change is the bar on the back housing the 3 different cameras. Remember this, dude? This is the Nexus 6P from 2015.
It's like the same thing.
I kind of like the bar on the back just because it adds a nice little spot to rest your finger on what is a very, very slippery phone. A case is definitely recommended. Flipping over to the front, we have a pretty hefty 6.7-inch display. This time around, Google has added 120 Hz, so that's pretty cool. I think it looks pretty great. What isn't so great, though, is this freaking under-display fingerprint sensor. See, here's the deal. In my experience, it's kinda slow and isn't very reliable.
Just gonna barge in here for a second. Google has just released an update that has made the fingerprint sensor more accurate, but it is still slow.
However, there are some reviewers out there that have a much better experience. But for me,
Gonna have a bad time.
So where's the part where we have a good...
it's camera time, baby.
Oh man, that was bad.
The cameras are faster than ever. I pull this thing out of my pocket, I double press the power button, and it is there right away, ready to shoot photos. And you know what? There's a lot to go over here, so let's get started. Pixel 6 Pro has a standard, wide, and telephoto camera. The photos from all 3 are pretty great. If you have to get nitpicky, sometimes the HDR is a little heavy, brightening up shadows. Really though, you cannot go wrong with these photos. The wide angle camera isn't quite as wide as I'd like it to be, but really it's still pretty good. Then there's the 4x telephoto. Now, usually my favorite camera on a smartphone would be the wide angle, but this year the Tele definitely takes that spot. It's capable of a 4x optical zoom with 20x digital. Is it as good as the Galaxy Note 21 Ultra? Maybe not quite, but the Pixel can still zoom farther than my eyeballs can see.
Actually, one of the best use cases for it is zooming in on your neighbors. Maybe don't do that.
Every year there's some dope new camera features and just in terms of the software. This year is no different. Google included 2 main features. There's motion mode and then there's the Magic Eraser. To start off, motion mode is kind of trying to imitate what a long exposure photo would do on just like a normal camera, and it works pretty decently well. And then there's the Magic Eraser, and Magic Eraser is pretty much just like content-aware fill on Photoshop, only I guess more magical. See, it doesn't quite work as well as content-aware fill, but it's definitely a lot faster and a lot more convenient than if you were to actually try to like pull up Photoshop, like take the photo, throw it in Photoshop, and you know.
Video on the Pixel is also much improved this year with stabilization doing great as usual, and yeah, it's just pretty good.
So if you're looking for some more information on the cameras, I won't bore you with, I don't know what I'm talking about, but Becca from The Verge did a very good comparison with the Pixel 6 Pro and the iPhone of this year, iPhone 13. So yeah, I'll leave that in the description, so check that out. Do you remember when Google Photos gave Pixel users free unlimited original quality storage for like their photos? That was great. They should really do that again. Okay, the haptics on the Pixel phones this year are actually very good, especially compared to previous generations. The last Pixel that had pretty decent haptics was actually the Pixel 3. So we've gone a couple years where they haven't been very good. But this year, they are so close to iPhone. So close. Not quite there, but very close. So great job, Google.
So when I first made
the A roll talking about the speakers, I was under the impression that there were 3 speakers: the front-facing speaker, the speaker on the right, and then the speaker on the left. No, the speaker on the left is actually a microphone, and the one on the right is a speaker. So, how does it sound with the one front-facing speaker and then the one on the right? Well, the front-facing one is great. I'm glad there's at least one front-facing. The one on the right, combined, the speakers are good. However, I do miss having dual front-facing speakers like on the Pixel 3.
Okay, so this year, the big deal with the Pixels are Google is now making their own SoC. So they've ditched Qualcomm. They said, Qualcomm, you're trash. And they've made their own chip called Tensor. This phone flies by literally everything. It is super fast. Most of that speed is very much so appreciated when using the Google Assistant and other speech-to-text features.
See, this is one of the greatest things that this phone enables with Tensor. The speech-to-text is incredibly fast and incredibly accurate. Plus, it'll even add punctuation and all of that cool stuff for you. So all you have to do is think about what you want to type, and it'll type it for you.
Finally, let's talk about the battery. Now, the battery is not as good as I would have hoped. I'm getting about 3.5 hours of screen on time, and that usually includes watching a little bit of YouTube, checking email, checking Twitter, doing all that kind of stuff. Sometimes by the end of the day, I'm putting on battery saver mode because I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna make it. And for a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, it's a little bit disappointing. Now, Google could put out some software updates that would improve the battery, but as of right now, it's a little bit hit or miss. Some other reviewers are saying, oh, it's great. It's good sometimes. Sometimes I get 4.5 hours of screen on time. A lot of times, no. So to wrap this up, Pixel 6 Pro is easily, by far, the best Pixel Google has ever made. Definitely the best flagship. I found it funny that during the announcement, Google talked about how it was their very first flagship smartphone.
Our first flagship phone.
I'm sitting here thinking, what were you doing before? Were you not even trying? This time, though, definitely a flagship, and I would 100% recommend. That's it. Bye.
Holy balls, dude.